All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Alan Lightsaber, and welcome to my first stream. It's my very first stream, and I hope you guys enjoyed the show. So, let me just check if everything here is running as it should. Let me just check here. Yes, I think it is. I think we are good. I'm just checking here on my monitor here. I think everything is actually going uh, as planned. So let me see here. I got here the chat. Hey everyone. And the exclamation mark became a number one. So um I don't see the chat here. Maybe it's because I think no one entered anything on the chat yet. Well, let me see who we got here on the streaming. I'm using StreamYard, and we're gonna go for a very cool live art. And what we're going to do is I'm going to talk obviously about Hot Toys, about the new releases, about the upcoming releases, and we're going to talk about art in general. We're going to talk about my favorite Hot Toys figures and third-party figures. We have a lot to cover on this stream. And let me see here if everything is working. I want to know if you guys can hear me well, if the microphone is good, if the audio is good, if the image is also good, because I already participated on Dante's streaming, and my image was blurry. It was actually very blurry, and the audio was not good. But that's because he lives overseas, and I'm in Brazil, so the connection was not exactly really good. But since I'm hosting this by myself, connection should be great. At least I hope it is. So, all right. So, let me check here. I'm using my cell phone as my monitor so I can see the chat. And so far, I don't see anyone in the chat. Anyone typing anything on the chat? The chat is right here on the StreamYard. I can see the chat on StreamYard, but I'm not seeing on YouTube, as I'm using as my responsive monitor to check the signal, because if something happens with the image, if it gets blurry or any of that, I may change my internet connection. So I'm using my cell phone as a backup plan. All right. So before we get into the art, before I actually show you guys what I'm about to do for this streaming here, what I want to do first is just check something on my cell phone for my YouTube. And let's just dive into this. Okay, so let me put it back on. All right, so today what we're gonna do is you guys are gonna see some art. I'm gonna actually make a very awesome and interesting art. I'm gonna start this art here on this streaming, and I'm gonna turn the Hulk action figure by Hot Toys from my collection into Doomsday, one of my favorite characters of all times. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go for some really cool things related to overlaying. We're gonna go into paint, freehand painting on that picture, and we're gonna go for some sample stamp as well. We're using the clone stamp tool to sample some images and all of that to hide the articulated parts of the figure and all of that sweet stuff. And we're gonna talk about action figures and Hot Toys and all of that. So right now, I'm just gonna show you really quick. I'm not seeing anyone talking anything on the chat right now. If you guys could just type something like "Hey, what's up?" or just so I can know who's watching, because I can't see who's watching right now. There's no chat option on my YouTube. feedback screen here, and I have no idea why. This is my first stream, so I have no idea why. Um, However, I don't think that's a problem. Maybe I would see it here on my I would see on my StreamYard application. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go really quick into my PC here. My PC. I'm actually on my laptop right now, so I'm just gonna see if there's a. Okay. So all right. So let's just do this. What I want to show you guys here is I want to share my screen, and I would like to know. Actually, I'm going to see here on my background, not background, on my replay monitor, how it's going to look like. So I'm just going to open my Photoshop file. I'm just going to start. I'm going to start here sharing my screen. And we're going to go for share. Let me just share it. Okay. So you guys can see my screen. I'm going to open for actually, I think it's kind of terrible right now how it's sharing the screen. Hold on. Let me just stop this screen sharing. Let me go for the other. The problem is that this one here doesn't have the option of having my my face cam a little smaller in there. So maybe this one here. I think my thing will like my face cam will be actually quite small. So let me just take a look at that. And let's select this one here. Okay. Now I'm going to open Photoshop. And you guys can tell me if you guys are seeing things properly the way you should, because, oh yeah, I think it looks interesting. I think it looks interesting. Okay. So, are you guys seeing this clearly? Can you guys see the screen sharing? Can you guys see Photoshop? I already have some things already done here, so you guys can see our layout. So this is the, I'm just gonna go for a quick brief here in terms of the layout I'm going for. So this, as you can see, is the Hulk action figure, the picture I took from my action figure. Love this action figure, by the way. And what I did was I just made a selection. Really, I took my time erasing everything, the original background. What am I doing here? Excuse me. The original background. I like to use the polygonal lasso tool, which is this tool here that you can use to cut off stuff. And also what I did was I just went back after just to smooth some edges, some rough edges. I just used my my brush. So I like to do that, not my brush, but my eraser, using the brush tool, but with my eraser, just so I can, smooth some edges out. And I like to do that, take my time with that to make a perfect selection. And that's extremely boring and time consuming. So I didn't want to do that on camera. So I did that with this Hulk figure here. I did nothing with the background. I just upscaled it because it was a lot smaller, but I wanted just this part here of the background so it would fit better with the figures. And this Superman figure here that I also took, this is my Man of Steel figure. So I took this picture here and also used the polygonal lasso tool to erase the background of the figure. And you guys can see the idea, right? So I'm going to turn this Hulk figure into Doomsday, and we're going to replicate a scene where Superman appears to save the day, and Doomsday is like, what the fuck, who are you? And they're going to just battle against each other. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the spikes, and I'm going to completely turn the Hulk figure into Doomsday. It's not going to look like an action figure. If you guys are already familiar with my art, and if you're not, please, you can go to my Instagram account. I left the link down below, so you can take a look at my art, at everything I do, my latest works. And usually they don't look like action figures. They tend to look a little bit more like a painting or something like that, because I do a lot of freehand paint over the figures. So that's what I'm going to do in this case here as well. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to start blocking things out, start turning Hulk into Doomsday. And I'm not gonna complete this piece here on this streaming, and mainly because those art pieces take me several hours to make. But I don't want to turn this into a Photoshop tutorial thing. So I'm just gonna hang out and want to talk about Hot Toys, and I want to talk about all that awesome stuff, the new releases and everything. So that's why I'm just gonna go along here with the art, and meanwhile, I will also talk about other stuff. I will stop, and I want to go for a segment here on the video where I'm gonna show you guys my favorite figures. So we're gonna go for another stream next week where we will continue this art here until I'm done with it. I don't know how many streams that will take, but I'm gonna go for this. I'm gonna tackle this art here on each stream I make, and it's gonna be this. I'm gonna put this segment here on each stream where I'm gonna show you guys my favorite figures. So I already have 2 figures already here on the table ready for that, and we're gonna go for some posing. We're gonna talk about that. I would like to know your thoughts about that figure as well. And all right, so let me just go back to the streaming, to StreamYard. Let me minimize this. Let me go back to my, what am I doing here? Okay, so I'm back to the full screen. Now, what I want to briefly talk about before we start we engage into the art, is that I have also a Facebook page, and it's called Al Lightsaber. I didn't leave the link right now, but I will edit my channel information underneath under the video, putting that link as well if you want to follow me on Facebook. Like I said, I already have the Instagram link there, so you guys can check it out. So, all right, without no further ado, after all this, let's get started. So, what I want to do is I want to open Photoshop. I want to share my screen again, and I want to open Photoshop. I'm already sharing my screen, sorry. And let me see how many people are watching here. Okay. So I would like to know if Dante, I invited Dante Manahawk Collectibles for the streaming. I also invited some other friends for the streaming, so you guys can talk to them as well. I'll obviously make some propaganda of their channels in social media. And let me see here on my background monitor. What are we doing? I think it looks too small. What do you guys think? I think it looks too small. Hold on. Let me just I don't know why it looks too small. Let me see here. Let me make it. Let me choose another option here for the screen sharing. I don't know why it's selecting this like that. It's too big, I guess. I'm back. I don't know how to share my screen without having that subject too small. Otherwise, we're gonna go with that. But that looks weird. All right, so we're gonna go with that. It looks terrible. It looks too small, I guess. Maybe you're watching this on your TV, so it's not gonna look too small. But if you're watching this on a mobile, on your cell phone, or something like that, it may look too small. Let me see here on my feedback monitor how it looks. It might look too small. I don't know. Let me know in the chat if it looks too small or not. I mean, and if the microphone is good, if the image is good, because if the image is blurry here, it's gonna ruin the art part. So I don't want that to happen. So I want to know how I can make this image here bigger, the sharing image bigger. I have no idea. Well, I'm not gonna waste much time with that. So okay. So All right, so I'm gonna start really simple. You can guys, you guys can see what we're going for, and what I'm gonna tackle right now is gonna be the proportions in relation to the Hulk figure. It's gonna be some proportions. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna change that. I want to make his torso a little bit wider. I took this picture here with my cell phone. It's a great way of taking pictures because it has a very good camera, but it's not as good as a professional photographer camera, Canon or Nikon or any of that. So it tends to deform the image a little bit. So what I'm gonna do. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go for this. I'm gonna actually turn off my notifications. Notifications. I'm gonna turn my Google Chrome notifications. And where's my Google Chrome? None. Why do I have two Google Chromes? I have no idea. Okay. I think that was Dante actually answering to my comments on his videos. You should check his work out. His name on YouTube is Man of Hot Collectibles. Actually, if you're here, you probably saw me on his stream as well. And I watched his videos today and I commented on them. So that was him answering the comments. I hope he's there watching, man. I hope he's watching the video right now. All right. So what I'm going to do here real quick is I'm going to just select the Hulk figure and I'm going to show you guys what I was talking about. I'm talking about his arms. They are too thick, and that's totally related to camera distortion. Not too much, but it's just like, it's just a nitpicking thing, but I want to make his torso wider. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to one of my favorite tools. And before we do that, I want to fix this thing here because I have no idea why it is. There we go. I think I got it now. Okay. Yeah, I got it now. Okay. I want to go to a tool that I'm a huge fan of, and it's called Liquify 2. We're going to go here to filter. We're going to go to distort, and we're going to choose Liquify. And when you're using this tool here, you want to be careful with it because what it does, it's going to deform your image. It's going to create deformations on it. You can make stuff bigger, make stuff smaller. But what you want to do, and I have no idea why I cannot change the size of my, oh yeah, it's right here, my brush size. And you can change the pressure, but I only care about the brush size. So I'm going to go for a bigger size, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on his lats a little bit. So what happens is that if you pull things, you can see Hulk's arm. What happens? It deforms stuff. So if you do that, and if you're not aware of what you're actually doing, you're going to deform places you don't want and you don't want to. So it might be a pain in the ass to go back and fix that. So you always want to be careful with this, with the areas you don't want to deform. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for the areas I want to make like a little bigger. So we're going to go for his lats. And I'm going to make his everything here a little bigger. And we're going to tilt things a little bit more. And we're going to fix this area here under the arm where we have articulation. So no worries about that. We're going to get rid of his shoulder articulation, and we're going to actually fix something now. We're going to make things bigger. I'm going to select here a bigger brush, and I'm going to choose a tool that actually make things bigger. As you can see, you just click on it, and it already made it bigger. If you hold your click button, it will make things bigger non-stopping. It will make things bigger as it goes, but it will explode your pixel, so your image may get pixelated. So I'm going to fix this here and there. So what do you guys think about Hot Toys' new image releases about Qui-Gon Jinn? I saw they actually released more than 50 images of Qui-Gon. That's a lot, man. They even have an image where where they recreated his death scene, where Darth Maul is actually poking his lightsaber through his belly. I mean, that was some hardcore stuff, man. Right? Showing Qui-Gon dying on one of the pics. It's just, it was really cool, actually. The lightsaber effects were really good. I actually would like to talk about that. I mean, I really liked the photos. The editing was really good. There is one photo in particular I'm going to show you guys um, in a bit, where they actually made Qui-Gon and Darth Maul really close to each other, like facing each other, really close quarters combat there. And I thought it was really, really awesome. Just making things smaller. His arms. Make sure both arms are actually the same size. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a very big brush right now, and I will make this whole area here bigger. Oh, actually, his face got affected as well. So what I'm gonna make even bigger to cover his own face, all of the head. Actually, not just the face. Something like that, and we're gonna hit OK. Did you see the difference? Let me just show you guys a little better. Take a look at him right now. Okay, and this is him before. So right now and before. So we basically made his torso bigger and wider, and we made his arms a little thinner, which is what I need to for Doomsday character. And I want to show you guys some pictures of Doomsday that I got on internet, just so you guys. I know you all know Doomsday, but I'm gonna go for some images that I found online to show you guys my favorite versions of Doomsday. So this is a very cool art, very different at the same time. That's actually one of the cover arts for the Superman comics, Superman's Death comics, a more a modern version of that. And what I love about this picture here is the horns. I mean, look at that. It's very super medieval kind of stuff. I'm a huge fan of that. I love this design. And as you can see here, each artist, when they draw Doomsday, they go for a different layout when it comes to those spiky stuff. I like to call those actually bones that are poking, protruding out of his body. So that's what I think it is, actually, a little biological analysis of Doomsday. I think that's actually what's happening with this character here. Is that a thing or not? Is that actually confirmed by DC? I'm not sure, but it's something that makes this design here super interesting. I mean, I like this Dark Ages kind of stuff for the horns. And I'm also going to show you another picture of Doomsday that I got here online. I'm going to place it right here. And actually, this is a statue from Sideshow. It's ridiculously amazing. Look at that. Super high detailed. Absolutely phenomenal. Holding Superman's cape. Super accurate to the comic after he kills Superman. We have here some fire effects. We want to go for something similar on this photo here. And as you can see, all the details for his suit. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. And the next photo I'm going to show you guys is the one from Dawn of Justice. It's what they actually did with this character. As you can see, it's not going to look like that. It's going to look very different. It was less detailed, in my opinion. It was super well done. I mean, it looks real. It looks like a real creature. It looks very, very cool. Let me just make things brighter here. Let me simplify the layer. Let me go to the levels of this picture here, and let me just explode the values a little bit so you guys can see it better. So I think it looks super realistic. I really like this the CGI that they went for this Doomsday version. What I don't like is that he doesn't have the hair and he doesn't have all those gigantic spikes. I mean, he does look a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more comic book accurate as it goes. As he takes damage, he grows and become even more powerful, and he becomes bigger and bigger, and his spikes actually grow. And on his face, he's got like that beard-like spikes as well, but it's not closer to those images I previously showed you. I mean, it still look very different. It still looks somehow like a turtle, a ninja turtle, right? At the same time, but I love the how realistic it looks. It looks phenomenal in terms of realism. It looks like a living creature, but I don't get exactly why it's not super comic book accurate. And the last picture is this one here. That is actually a very comic book like picture of Doomsday, and that's what I was talking about. The hair, I like his long hair. I love creatures and monsters with long hair. I mean, super heavy metal likenesses to the characters, right? So let me just take a look at the chat, see if everything's going on here. Yes, yes, we got some people here. Thank you, Pepe. What's up? We got here my friend Café con Edgy. His name is Alan as well. So he's saying here on the comment, the notion of depth on the scene with the whole composition looks great. Thank you very much, man. Abração para você, Alan. Obrigado por estar participando do streaming. Espero que você goste, cara. Mesmo sendo em inglês, espero que você curta bastante. I just said him that I hope he likes the video. Again, he's Brazilian, so he's a friend of mine that I met on Instagram. Super cool dude. Make sure to check his channel out on Instagram. It's called Café con Edgy. You can totally just search on Instagram the same nickname that he's using now on the chat, and you can find his channel, his account. Okay, let's just get rid of Doomsday. And let's go now into the art. So we already changed some proportions here. About the size, I think he looks nice in comparison to Superman. Obviously, Superman's super close to the camera, so he's got to be a lot bigger right now. When it comes to this foreshortening stuff here that I'm doing, this is called foreshortening. When you show something that is in front of the camera and in front of everything that is shown in the camera. And right here we got Doomsday in Hulk format. So as you can see, he looks a little odd. Looks like he's actually floating. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt him a little bit to the left. So let me see here. I think it looks a little better. I think it looks nice. And now what I want to do is, oh, by the way, I want to say thanks to everybody that is on that is watching me right now. This is my first live stream, so anything you guys may want to say for improvements and anything you guys would like to see in the future as well. I know that there's some other people who will also watch this video once it's posted on my YouTube channel. So anything you want to talk about in relation to how I'm streaming this will be super well received. So if you want to take your time and put that down in the comments below, I would definitely be more than glad in replying to you, so we can talk about the upcoming streams I'm about to make. So I'm gonna go for one stream a week, but I will confirm that on my stories. So keep an eye open for my stories on my Instagram account, because I will, every time I'll go for a stream on that week, I will let you guys know through my stories, as I did for this very own streaming here. So what we're gonna do now is this. It's very, very simple. We're just gonna create a new layer. Okay. Actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna zoom in a little bit, and I'm gonna start drawing the spikes. So while I'm doing this, I would like to talk to you guys about the Venomized Iron Man figure, which we spoke about that on my last streaming with Dante with Manaha Collectibles. I was part of his streaming, and we talked about that. And most of people in the chat said that they would skip that figure. They said that they would like to skip it. That is, we asked if it would be a buy or pass, and most of people said it would be a pass. Not to me. I love Venom more than any other character, basically, and I think that a lot of people got really upset about it because they were hoping for other releases. Hot Toys already announced a lot of other stuff. They are announcing stuff like every week, and people are waiting for those figures to be released. And especially when seeing something that is not movie related or any of that, they felt kind of like, oh, what is Hot Toys doing? But not exactly my case, because I think that it's a very cool homage to the comics. And if you're not aware of the Venomized story, it's actually based on the Maximum Venom comic. And this comic has actually a lot of Avenger characters like Groot, Captain America, Doctor Strange. It also has the Hulk itself. Um, who else? It's got Captain Marvel, I guess. It's got a lot of characters from the Avengers, and obviously there's Venom, and they are all venomized. So what happens is that the symbiote is actually now part of every single character in the comics. So Iron Man was one of those characters that was also venomized, and since he's a big hit right now on for our in our pop culture, also along with Deadpool and Harley Quinn and Venom as well. This looks terrible. Let me just erase that. It looks like shit. So, getting on board into the hype that is actually left for the Marvel characters, they wanted to go for this particular character from the comics, Iron Man, because they already released almost every single mark he used in the movies. So it makes sense. And what actually happened was that they got in touch with a very famous Chinese comic book artist, and he drew his own version. He made his own concept. His concept based on this Iron Man Venom, which is called Venomized Iron Man. That is from this comic Maximum Venom. And Hot Toys wanted to release this figure on their special line called Artist Collection, if I'm not mistaken. If you take a look at Venom's box, you will see Hot Toys box. You will see that there's a name in red there. I think it's called the collector's art. I don't remember, something like that, which is a very cool line of Hot Toys. That is actually something. It's a variant line where they make partnerships with those artists and they release figures based on their designs. It also happened in the past with a Predator figure that is called Samurai Predator, which was based on a Chinese artist as well, if I'm not mistaken. So that's what happened with the Venomized figure. So he made his own version based on the Maximum Venom comic, and Hot Toys will release this figure based on his vision, his own design. But what I think is super cool about that, let me take a look at the chat here. But what is really cool about that is the fact that I don't know if you guys also noticed that, but I think that he was really inspired by Todd McFarlane's style. And I also saw some, at least it gives me some The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing vibe as well, because it looks so organic and so gross and so realistic, and it looks really like a monster thing. And that's because in the comics Maximum Venom, the drawings are really, really different. They're not realistic. They are not Jim Lee style. They're not Mark Silvestri style. So Mark Fallen style. They're not that style. They actually look kind of cute, to be honest. And what they went for this, what actually this comic book artist did was he made this thing, this crossover look very realistic and gross at the same time. He even made the spider logo on his chest. He made actual legs coming out of the chest reactor, because Venom has this white spider on his outfit, and it's actually drawn, painted on the outfit as well. You may even have some bevel edges around those lines to make it pop. But it's the first time that someone actually made the legs of the spider become actual legs coming out of the figure. They are articulated paws, if you will. spider paws. So it's absolutely stunning. I think it looks super cool. You can articulate it them like forward or backwards to go all the way around, replicating the original logos design. And that's what I think it's super cool. A lot of people pass that because they might not be hardcore Venom fans or comic book fans. But there is one thing I do agree about, that is that I would like to see actual Venom. I mean, regular Venom, instead of only crossovers. However, we will get one day. I mean, I'm pretty positive about that. We will get a Venom figure. It's gonna look super cool, and I am doing something kind of dumb here because I'm painting this with black, and I want to actually make it bright so I can see what I'm doing here on the background. So hold on. Let me turn this white, and there we go. So you guys can also see it a little bit better. So what I'm doing is I'm just drawing the spikes. The back part for me is the most difficult one because they are huge, and I like drawing them like really big, like kind of wings. But it's tricky because it can easily look ridiculous. So we gotta nailed it, otherwise it's gonna look weird. One thing that is really cool about Doomsday is that in the comics, when he kills Superman, which is Doomsday's first appearance, he's actually wearing a suit. It's actually quite bizarre. He's wearing a green suit with a mask, so you cannot see his. What is weird is that he's got those spikes, right? Those gigantic spikes on him all over his body. And when he's wearing the suit, he just look like a Hulk figure. I mean, he looks like a massive bodybuilder figure. The silhouette and everything, and he's wearing that suit, and we don't see any spikes at all. I mean, if he would have those underneath the suit, it would tear the whole thing apart. And but we don't see those spikes anywhere. And once he just start battling Superman, and Superman starts, kicking his ass, tearing his outfit apart, he takes everything off, and he reveals himself as the true gross creature and badass creature he actually is. And then you see that, oh my god, he had spikes underneath the suit the whole time that we couldn't see. So it's it's something funny, but at the same time, that's what I think is sometimes a problem with movies, because you can totally go for that in the comics. Like I said, you ask yourself, what are those? Why couldn't we see the spikes underneath the suit? Why didn't they make the spikes like coming off the suit? You may ask that yourself, but it doesn't ruin the experience. You're like, oh, that looks awesome. Sometimes you may not even ask yourself, depending on what you're reading or what you're thinking about, because the comics accept a lot of stuff, and when it comes to movies, they gotta explain everything, and everything has to make sense. And I totally get that. I think I like thinking about that as well. Making stuff that doesn't exist makes things that are impossible to exist existing and making sense. So I think that it's cool to think about that, but at the same time, it's what ruins movies sometimes, depending on their approach, depending on what they think, depending on what they want to see, directors and producers. That may be something that you always, disagreed about. See, that's what I'm talking about. Sometimes those back spikes look ridiculous, and they are looking quite weird right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just erase this one here, and I'm going to erase the one in the middle. That also looks kind of weird, and this one here looks bizarre as well. The thing about spikes is that, you see, when you want to make organic spikes, usually it's what I do, for me at least. You make spikes going to different sizes, going different directions, to feel very organic, to feel more natural. But at the same time, you want to be careful because you do want to maintain a certain idea of depth and also um, a accurate 3D effect. So since we're talking about this action figure here that is on the that we're working on, we are talking about something that already exists, so a geometry that already exists. So we want to kind of respect that. But I'm not fully committing to this. I may change things later. No problems. And let me check the chat here to see if I'm not missing anything. Actually, I'm going to see here on my cell phone if we are getting. I don't know why I don't have the chat on my cell phone. That's terrible. So I got to go back and forth to the StreamYard. So you guys will see the infinity screen going on every time I do that. Pepe asks, which figure would you like to see Venomized? That's a very good question. Well, I would love to see. I definitely will buy Venompool, the Venom slash Deadpool figure that they announced a few years back. I will definitely buy the Venomized Iron Man. But then the other figure that I would like to see Venomized, that will totally be the Hulk. The Hulk itself. I think it would be awesome. He's part of the Maximum Venom comic book. And by the way, the Maximum Venom comic book, it's named after the Maximum Carnage comic book. Maximum Carnage was a super cool saga where Venom was a big part of. And it was when Cassidy, aka Carnage, had a lot of space with all the killing and the gore. It was a very gory comic. There is a scene where Cassidy goes, I think it's Central Park, and there is a couple of there is a couple of how old are they? I mean, they might be around 80s. 80s. There might be around 80 years old. 80 years old, I think. Less than 90 years old, but they are old. But they were just, making out in the car, and Cassidy appears, and he just ripped their heads and arms off and legs, and he destroys them. He tears them apart because he can also, like Venom, make his symbiont arms look become weapons. So he turned them into axes, and he just destroyed them all, and it was terrible to see. I mean, it was really well drawn, and it was super explicit, if you will. So it was a very violent comic. I don't know if that looks interesting. I think it's more interesting if it goes more like sideways instead of just upwards, Isn't that inspired by Godzilla? I think it is, right? I mean, the back part of Doomsday reminds me a little bit of that. So I'm just going to erase the middle one on this side. And I'm going to go for maybe I think the biggest ones got to be like around his shoulder area, the back part of his shoulder area, and not exactly behind his head. I think something like this may look better. I'm not sure. All right, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna just make the hands as well, just to have an idea. Let me see the chat real quick. So that will be my answer to you, Pepe. It would be Venom combined with Hulk. Does that look right? I think it is. I think it's right. Yeah. Again, this is called blocking details. I'm just blocking things up to see if I find something interesting. something I can go with. But again, I'm gonna use I can change things whatever I want. I'm just gonna use stone textures that I have already prepared for that. He's got some spikes behind his arms, his forearms actually. And I'm gonna go for some crashed cars and buses and a lot of destruction as well. But this is gonna be later on. We're gonna focus only on the Hulk itself, turning him into Doomsday. That's gonna be our main focus. And one of my favorite parts about making Photoshop art is that we can basically create every single composition we want. So for me, again, the Venomized stuff, it's totally my jam. It's totally right up my alley. I love that, and the fact that is, for me at least, I don't know if you guys also have that if you guys actually thought about it, but having that design looking like a Todd McFarlane's design, for me, it's something that it's super cool. And I wonder if we're gonna have a Spawn movie um, in the upcoming years. I mean, 2 or 3 years, because he made his first Spawn movie like years ago, early '90s, I guess, late '80s, I think. And it is cool. I mean, it is what he was actually able to do, but it was super comic book accurate. So for you guys that nowadays complain about comic book accuracy for the MCU movies and DC, especially DC movies, at least we can say that the Spawn movie wasn't comic book accurate. And I wish we could have that right now. I want to see a new Spawn movie because I would love to have a Hot Toys based on that. Oh, another Hot Toys release that I am super excited for, and no one is actually talking about it. Talking about is the Hellboy that was announced last year, a little more than that, maybe. Yeah, I think it was last year. That figure for me is super cool. I mean, with a flaming crown and flaming sword, that figure for me looks super nice, and I want that figure. The movie is kind of cool, but I think that Guillermo del Toro's movies are actually better with Ron Perlman. But I love how this movie handled Hellboy's makeup and all of that. I think it looks super nice. I think it looks very very cool, and the fact that they actually showed Lobster Johnson in the movie, which is a very iconic character for the Hellboy comics, was something even more interesting. The actor who plays this character, Lobster Johnson, on the latest Hellboy movie, was the same actor who played Sandman in Spider-Man 3. I forgot his name. And if you're a Hellboy fan, I know that there are some aspects of the movie that you may not like, but I know that there's definitely something there that you were really actually surprised in seeing. Because I was for, I mean, the Excalibur thing, King Arthur's sword, is something that is extremely accurate to Hellboy comics. They tend to mixture those legends with the comics, and Hellboy is always there involving those. So I think it was super super cool that they used that for the movie. However, I didn't like the villain, that generic witch. I think that was something kind of cool, but I think they could have done something a little bit something more interesting. Maybe a iconic comic book character from Hellboy's comic books. So okay, so already lingering too much here. So that's the idea we're having here. Some spikes. I'm just gonna finish them in another time. We're gonna move on to another area of Hulk right now. We're gonna turn this layer off. And before I start fixing the articulation things, where I'm gonna completely hide, I want to hide all those seam lines and fix this thing here because it's made of rubber. So when you articulate your arm inwards, it bends in the same way. So I want to pull them out. So I'm going to do that in Photoshop. But before we do this, let me check the chat here. Before we do this, what I want to do is I want to go for the for that segment that I mentioned, where I'm going to show you guys here on the stream my favorite Hot Toys figure. One of my favorite Hot Toys figure. One of them is Hot Toys. The other is not a Hot Toys. It's a third-party figure. So I'm gonna just stop screen sharing right now, and I'm gonna show myself in here. I'm gonna put my keyboards to the side, and the first one is General Zod. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn my lightsabers on the background here off, so you guys can see him a little better. Otherwise, we're gonna have that big light exploding behind. Let me fix my microphone here. So this figure for me is one of my favorite Hot Toys figures. I usually tend to love villains. I think they are sometimes more interesting than the heroes itself, mainly because the heroes, they already know what they're doing. I mean, they fight for something, they stand for something, and we know what they stand for. But the villains, they're completely lost in their path. So they think they have a reason for doing things, but they're actually completely wrong. And it's super cool to see, even with all of that power and all of that menacing, devastating look they might pass, they're actually quite fragile from the inside. So so it's something interesting to see. And what I do like to see is when heroes redeem themselves, villains redeem themselves when they realize that what they're doing is wrong. So I think that's why I think heroes are very interesting. That's why they're very compelling to me. So I love this guy. The thing that I like the most is that his armor looks absolutely insane, and he's got the same Superman powers. I mean, he shared the same abilities as Superman, so he becomes a extremely dangerous character and villain for Superman to face. And the cool thing, another awesome stuff about him, is that some people don't like Man of Steel too much because they tend to compare that with Christopher Reeve's movies, and they're like, oh no, I'm a Christopher Reeve fan, so Man of Steel was actually a pass to me. However, the Man of Steel movie is a huge tribute to Christopher Lee's Superman movies, starting with the villain, because Zod was actually created on Christopher Reeve's Superman movie, where when he faces the Krypton Knights, and Zod obviously is Kryptonian as well, and he actually he was created for that movie. He's not a comic book character, and it's really rare to me to see something created for the movies only having a comic book villain movie, and create the villain for the movie itself, not using comic book villains, iconic characters, iconic villains. It's dangerous when they do that. And in my opinion, it only worked for the Superman movies, starting with Christopher Reeve's movies, and now for the Man of Steel. Now, I mean, that year is already like almost 10 years old, Man of Steel, right? But what they did with this character here was super cool. They just updated Zod. They gave him a super duper awesome armor for him to face Superman. And the other Kryptonians that are with him, Faora and that other gigantic dude, they also wear this very cool outfit, armor-like. I'm going to post this as I talk. And I think that in terms of design, in terms of, acting, in terms of concept in general, that movie is phenomenal. And again, it's a total Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee. Christopher Reeve. Don't confuse us. In terms of Christopher Reeve, likenesses and all of that, I think Henry Cavill did a great job. And one thing that was pointed out to me was Rob, my friend. Shout out to you, Rob. Make sure to follow his Facebook group. It's called Six Scale Club. And make sure to check his YouTube channel and Instagram. It's called Rob's Reviews. And he actually told me that they went for a very cool tribute with Christopher Reeve in the Man of Steel movie, when Zod is actually putting that spaceship to change Earth Earth's gravity to create the new Krypton. Superman is underneath; it's under the that ship, and it's creating that like that pulse that prevents Superman from flying, and he just you know he just starts like focusing on that, and he's gathering all of his strength to take off against that gigantic pressure that that ship is creating. And for a brief moment, when he looks up, they actually made a CGI effect to make Christopher Reeve appear through Henry Cavill's facial features. It's only for a moment, and it's super cool how they actually done that because again, it shows how they actually consider Christopher Reeve the original Superman. And the fact that the movie doesn't have the song that that a lot of people were actually expecting to hear, that was actually the original song for the original Superman movies with Christopher Reeve and all of that, might mislead people in thinking that they were not considering the existence of those movies, but they did. I mean, again, they used General Zod, the character that was created on Christopher Reeve Superman movies. So for me, that was the high point of the whole idea. And Zack Snyder himself told us that this movie is a huge tribute to the Christopher Reeve acting and everything that he did for the character as well. So as you can see, he looks menacing. He looks crazy. I mean, you can see the craziness in his eyes. Absolutely fantastic. Um, he looks so awesome, man. I love this guy. One thing that I do wish that Hot Toys could do more often, and that I don't understand. Obviously, they are all hand sculpted, all the Hot Toys figures and all of that. But one thing that I don't understand is why don't they give us two heads, secondary heads more often? That is a big complaint I have about Qui-Gon. So Hot Toys announced some more pictures of Qui-Gon. I think it's around 50, or I think it's more than 50 pictures, 50 new pictures. As I said at the beginning of the video, one of them is Darth Maul actually killing Qui-Gon. But the problem is, did you guys saw his? Did you guys see? Excuse me, his facial expressions. Qui-Gon looks so chilled. He's got a little kind of a smirk on his face, and I think it's weird because it's not suitable for battling poses and battling displays. I mean, basically everybody that will display Qui-Gon facing Darth Maul will create a very cool scene with Darth Maul's secondary head when he's actually screaming. So it creates something weird because Darth Maul is looking so badass and so angry, and he's actually screaming, and he's like super into the battle scene. And when you see Qui-Gon, he's like, his oh, the microphone is actually on top of my face. And when you see Qui-Gon, he's like all the time. So you're always gonna display him looking like he knows something funny about Darth Maul that no one knows, and he's like, "Yeah, I do know your secret, but I won't share it." I don't know. It's weird. I think they should have made a secondary head with an angry expression, or at least a preoccupied expression, like, "Oh no," I don't know, because it looks weird. And if you take a look at the Hot Toys, if you take a look at these photos that Hot Toys actually did with Qui-Gon facing Darth Maul, you can definitely tell that it looks weird when they show Qui-Gon's face. And that's why, again, I love General Zod, because he's got that crazy look in his eyes, and we don't need a chilled look or a smirk on his face. We don't need that. We just need that crazy look in his eyes, like he's willing to kill everyone, and he hates Superman, and he's the last. He wants to be the last Kryptonian that will recreate it all. And he wanna. I think that if he would able to kill Superman and recreate Krypton, he would not give people freedom, Kryptonian people or whatever they would be. I don't think they would give them freedom. He would behave like a god or something, because he was the one who actually managed to save his own planet, or at least recreate it. So that's what I think it's cool about General Zod, is that how crazy he actually is. Hold on, he's staring at the wrong way. So I believe that General Zod is completely. I mean, he's kind of like Thanos, right? Thanos is the Mad Titan, and I think that General Zod has kind of the same vibe, where he also got have a. He's kind of he thinks he's got a reason. He thinks he was betrayed by Kal-El's father. He thinks he was betrayed by Jor-El since they were best friends and they fought together. So he's got that vibe where he thinks he's actually on the right side of the story. So he actually gives Superman a chance. That's what one thing that I like about villains is when they actually don't want to straight away face and kill the superhero, the hero. They want to try to convince them, because he knew that it would be a challenging thing to do, to face Superman. He was not expecting Superman to be that strong, but he knew that Superman he thought that Superman might think about it and might consider the idea of recreating Krypton with him. So he's like, "Oh no, that's no way to treat a prisoner. Come on, let me tell you something." And when he sees that Superman doesn't give a crap about that, he's like, "All right, I'm gonna try to kill you in cold blood." And at the very end of the movie, Superman breaks his neck, and a lot of people, "Hey, what's up, Dante? We got Man of Hawk collectibles in the area. Let me say hi to you in the chat. Hey there." If you guys want to check him out, Café com Ned, Pepe, if you want to go to his channel and subscribe, he also has his Facebook groups called Six Scale Media. It's really cool. You guys can go there. Alan, Café com Ned, você pode ir lá ver o grupo do Man of Hawk Collectibles. Meu amigo que acabou de entrar, ele tem um grupo de Facebook chamado Six Scale Media. E lá tem um monte de fotos de action figures, tal. Já tem bastante gente lá como membro do grupo. E dá uma olhada lá se você tiver o tempo livre ali, para ver o que o pessoal tem postado lá. So Dante, I just told my friend, one of the people here in the chat, Alan, also named Alan, that about your group, so he could check it out, see what people have been posting there. And congrats, man. The group is getting bigger. We're having a lot of people entering the group. And now I'm going to talk about my second figure that I brought here. So that's General Zod. Let's contemplate his beauty. I'm just saying here, Dante, that one of my favorite figures is the Hot Toys General Zod. I have a dark tendency to, love villains. And the next figure that I also love, that I said that it's not Hot Toys figure, it's actually from 303A. 303A. Yeah. This Zod, it's super well done, Alan. It's super, super cool. I love the head sculpt. The crazy look in his eyes, né? O olhar maluco que ele tem nos olhos dele, a cara de louco que ele tem, para mim é sensacional. And now we have one of Marvel's greatest villains. Actually, this base here is terrible. I'm not going to use this base to display him. I'm going to switch bases with Zod. I'm going to go for this bigger base here. This is from 3A, 30. Let me pause him real quick because he looks terrible right now. And this figure here was, for some people, it was a huge pass. Gemi Toys. Hey, what's up, man? What's up, Sergio? If you guys want to follow Gemi Toys, super cool, super awesome dude. I'm going to try it not to. I'm going to actually put Dr. Doom to the side here so I can say hello to Gemi Toys. Hey, man, I'm really glad you made it. I know it's super early there in Japan. It's like 9 o'clock there in Japan, right? So I'm just talking real quick here about my favorite action figures. And Dr. Doom from 30 now is the one I'm talking about. The previous one was a General Zod. General Zod for me from Man of Steel. And actually, if you guys didn't know, Gemi Toys shares the same opinion with me about the Man of Steel movie. He loves the movie. He thinks everything looks absolutely awesome about that movie. And he also appreciates the fact, as a Christopher Reeve fan, he also appreciates the fact that Man of Steel is actually a very nice tribute to the Christopher Reeve's Superman movies. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna pose him. Can you guys hear those rattening joints? Super sturdy, super awesome. So a lot of people that was a huge pass for some people. This figure here from 30. Let me fix my microphone. It's actually on top of my face. Let me just put this down. I left it like that because I need to pass my arm under the microphone pedestal in order to go for the Photoshop art. So since I'm right now talking about the figures, I can lower this thing down here so it doesn't block my face. So this guy here was a huge pass for some collectors, not for me because I love Doctor Doom and he was completely underappreciated on every single Fantastic Four movie we had. He was terribly represented. He was terribly represented in those movies. And the last Fantastic Four movie we had, I don't even recall if he was in the movie or not. That movie to me was a huge no-no. I didn't like that at all. So take a look at that. Maybe his legs should be facing forward a little bit. And Dante, if you're still watching this video, man, I highly recommend you to pick this guy up. Oh, I remembered now. You don't want to go for third parties right now. You want to focus on Hot Toys, and I get it. Sure, forgot about that. But still, this guy for me, if he doesn't bend backwards, is one of my favorites as well. Basically because he's also superposable. But the only thing I hate about this guy are his duck feet. And they are super soft, so they have a hard time supporting his weight. But he looks super cool. His design is simply amazing. I love it. And he's got wires on his cape as well, so you can pose them however you like. Right here on the bottom, he's got some wires, so you can make some really cool windy thing going on there. So he looks absolutely fantastic. I love this figure, and he's got some LEDs on his torso, legs, and eyes. He's got some light up features for that, so you can light up his eyes, and we have some lines here on his torso and legs that you can also light up as well. However, there's one big complaint about the 3-0 figures is that their LEDs are terrible. They are really dim. They are not as bright as Hot Toys LEDs, so it's a lot of work for something that doesn't show too well. It's not too bright, so it's not depending on the light you're using. If you have strip lights on top of your figures and all of that, it might be something that you won't be able to see. Hold on, maybe I can. The problem about 3-0 is that they don't come with bases. They don't have bases. Their figures don't come with. No, it looks like you're heading him over a sandwich. Come on, Alan, you can do better with this. Maybe something like that. Maybe something like that. I don't know. And what I do love about 3-0 is that they are really creative with some stuff. This was also really similar to the Venomized thing that Hot Toys did. 3-0 actually got in touch with an artist. I think he's a comic book artist as well, and he drew the designs for this Doctor Doom figure and also Iron Man figure. He did an Iron Man that followed the same idea, but I was not a huge fan of Iron Man's design. I was a huge fan of Doctor Doom's design. Um, so yeah, this is one of my favorite figures as well. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Um, I'm still here. I was posting your live stream on the group. Oh, thanks, dude. Thank you, Dante. He was posting my live stream on the group. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna go back to the art in a bit. I'm just introducing here my favorite figures. So now that we have Gemini Toys and Dante on the stream as well, I will. I'm not gonna be able to finish this whole piece right now. The Hulk piece, the Hulk art. Let me show you guys what I was doing. But I'm gonna do that in the other live streams. I'm gonna go for a live stream every week, and I will continue this piece here off camera as well. So I am a little bit more advanced every time we talk for the upcoming live streams, because I do want to talk about other things. I don't want to just make the art, completely ignore what people are saying, and look like I'm actually focusing on the art only. I want to talk about other stuff because it can be like extremely boring to see someone staring at the screen like nothing else is going on. So let me turn on my mouse here. So let me go back to the art. So I'm gonna go for screen sharing. I'm gonna share my screen. Hold on. I'm gonna choose the yes. It's big now. So I'm gonna go now to the YouTube art so you guys can see. This is the layout that I have here. I already selected Hulk, I already selected Superman, and got rid of their backgrounds, and I just started creating Doomsday spikes here on Hulk. I'm gonna apply some textures to that. I'm gonna then draw the shadows, the highlights. Let's start making maybe his face right now. Go back to the art a little bit. We already are at we already spent an hour together. This is actually really cool. I'm enjoying this a lot. Again, my very first live stream. So if you guys have anything you would like to say in the comments later on about anything I can improve or anything you would like to see me doing here, or if you're like, Alan, your art is crap, I hate it, do not go for this segment ever again, I will completely understand that, and I will think about I will put some thought to it. Now this side here looks nothing with the other side, so excuse me. So the cool thing about Doomsday is that he's got this Wolverine kind of look to him, right? I mean, all the spikiness and the aggressivity. I mean, he's just a mixture of Hulk and Wolverine, I guess, even though he's from DC. What am I saying? Am I saying that DC actually copied Marvel? I have no idea. So he does have some stuff right on his eyes, something like that. But I'm not gonna go for that right now. Um, does he have something in between his nose and upper lip? I have no idea. But are we gonna put maybe some stuff in here as well, like so? And Dante and Gemini Toys, awesome job with the stream, Al. I need to get into the stream. Yes, yes, looking for. Oh, so Gemma Toys is saying, awesome job with the stream, Alan. I need to get into streaming soon too. Looking for a microphone, and I will join the stream madness. Yes, yes, you should, man. I mean, you already have like almost 600 subscribers, right? So you will definitely have some people there watching you, man. I will be there definitely watching your content. And yes, if you are interested on microphones, this one here that I'm using, if you like the sound of it, it's the Behringer C1U microphone. It's a very good studio microphone, top quality sound, and one thing that is really cool is that it works on Windows and it works with the Mac as well, because a lot of stuff don't work with Mac, but this here actually works. I use this microphone a lot for my previous channel that I had in the past. So it's really cool. I love this microphone here. And you don't have to install any drivers or any of that. It's just it already recognized by it was recognized already straight away when I hooked into my PC, Windows, and to my Mac as well. So that's a plus, because sometimes you do have to spend a lot of time searching for drivers, in order to make things work, and that can be a total pain in the ass. But it's super cool, and you should definitely go for streamings, man. Well, obviously for my next streamings, I will definitely continue this art here, and I will also talk about other stuff. And I will have another two figures that will be my favorite figures as well. So it's going to be a segment that for each streaming I make, I'm going to have two of my favorite figures. So the figures for this stream were Zod and Doctor Doom, and for my other stream, for my next stream, I'm going to go for two other figures. And right now I'm going to use the clone stamp tool. So if I hold out and I paint over it, I just have to now normally click on the figure itself, and I will just clone that area. It's a tricky tool to use, okay? But it's super handy when it comes to creating stuff, fixing stuff, applying stuff to an area that you didn't have it done, like this area here. I will definitely make that a little better as I go as well. What I want to do now is I want to make this Hulk figure here look a little bit more realistic. So I'm going to get rid of his action figure features, so the articulations and all of that. Okay. Making his lats a little bit. So I want to ask to Dante and GMI Toys. Actually, I'm going to read Dante's comment here. Dante said, Sergio, send me a message, WhatsApp. I'll let you know all the gear you need to join the madness. LOL. Yes. You guys can talk to Dante. He's got already 6 streamings on his channel. 6 streamings, right, Dante? 6 streamings, I guess, already. And Dante is already he's more familiar with the stream madness and all the platforms and the softwares you can use. So it's definitely a good option to talk to him about that, about the gear you need to make your own art on the streaming madness. Why did I minimize stuff? So am I still sharing the screen? Yes, I am. So the cool thing about making these kind of arts here in Photoshop is that you can create your own idea, and you can fix the things that were destroyed in the movies. If you didn't like any aspect of any movie you may have seen, you can recreate those things and you can fix stuff. That's what I'm kind of doing with Doomsday. I want to make a more comic book accurate Doomsday. As you guys, I'm gonna show something really cool right now. We're gonna go for the skin tone of the Hulk, and we're gonna change that into the gray color of Doomsday. So we just have to go here into Enhance, and we choose Adjust Color, Adjust Hue and Saturation. Okay, when you open this panel here, I'm just going to detail this part because this is I think it's going to be the coolest part of the stream. When you have this box here, you just have to hit the Colorize checkbox. And look at that. It happened. That's what happened. But that's because it's a preset thing that Photoshop has. So for any reason, it choose 25 as the saturation value, 0 for the hue value, and 0 for the lightness value. So hue value is the color, okay? So saturation is how bright your color is. So if you choose 0, it doesn't matter which color you're using. As you can see here, I'm choosing blue, I'm choosing red, I'm choosing cyan blue, I'm choosing green, yellow, and whatever. And the saturation set to 0 will make nothing appear. So it looks like black and white color. It's going to take the color completely away of your image. All right. In this case, it's only the Hulk that is selected. And the brightness will choose how dark and how bright this image will be. 100% bright with 0 saturation becomes a whiteout silhouette. And you have the same effect, but with black. So you guys can see the detail, the the sketches of the spikes that I made on him. So we're gonna just go to 0. And when we put saturation to the maximum level, it looks ridiculous. It looks like that. You can create a red Hulk, but that looks terrible. So what I like to do is I like to go around, I don't know, maybe 50, starting at 50. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go for the gray value. So you may think just go all the way to 0, and boom, you have a gray value. However, it doesn't look exactly gray. It looks like the absence of color. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to blue. All right. The value is around 20, 29, which, I mean, who cares? But that's the tone I choose for the blue. And if you go a little bit, check this out. Can you guys see that on the screen? If I choose like around 10 as value, it becomes a bluish gray color, but it's still gray. I mean, you only can tell that there's blue because I said that I set my hue values to blue. If I change it to green, look at what happens. If I change it to yellow, if I change it to red, but the blue value blends a little better with the idea of gray. Actually, this area here looks fine. So this, it's around 10 in terms of saturation. And if I turn it down to 0, look how flat and how lifeless it looks. So I'm going to put it to 10. Maybe I'm going to go to 8. I'm going to go down to 6. Okay. 6 looks fine. And I'm at 0 in terms of in lightness. So if I darken this up, or if I go up, all the way up, again, it will look ridiculous. So I'm just going to go set my marker to 0, and I'm going to hit OK. And then we have a more Doomsday skin tone for the Hulk figure. Now, there is one quick thing I want to talk about. Actually, I'm going to talk about that later on because it's about Photoshop and digital art techniques. So I'm just going to check the chat before I do that real quick with everything minimized. You can see my Darth Malgus. I didn't make this art here, by the way, but it's art that I found on the internet of the Old Republic, and that it's super sweet. I love this. Let me put stream back on. I'm sure Doomsday will look better than the BVS version. Yeah, Gemini Toys is saying that my Doomsday will look better than the Dawn of Justice Batman versus Superman Doomsday. Yes, I actually talked about that at the very beginning of the stream. I have some pictures here on my Photoshop of those Doomsdays, and just gonna throw him real quick. I don't want this segment to be super boring, but let's talk a little bit about the Doomsday design. I'm not a fan, again, of the design of this particular Doomsday. I'm going to just explode his values so you guys can see it better. But I like how real it looks, how realistic it looks. I mean, it looks like a living creature. I think that's what I think about. All right, so GMI Toys, you just changed the course of my streaming, and I'm going to talk about Batman versus Superman, okay? It's a very controversial movie, so I want to talk about that. This Doomsday here looks awesome in terms of realism. I mean, the technique behind the CGI, the animation is ridiculously amazing. We really gotta applaud everyone involved on this movie in terms of the technique involved in making this movie. The CGI, the editing, the special effects, everything looks terrific. I mean, oh my god, it looks awesome. However, don't you guys think that they totally wasted one of the coolest villains we could have in the DC universe? I mean, putting Doomsday as, I didn't even think about it. All right, guys, so I didn't even think about that. In the Dawn of Justice, do you know what Doomsday actually is? I wasn't playing that, I swear. I'm going to go back to full screen right now. In the movie Dawn of Justice, Doomsday, it's not Doomsday. It's not the comic book Doomsday. He's actually General Zod. He's actually General Zod. So General Zod was killed by Superman in Man of Steel. And in Dawn of Justice, Lex Luthor, which was for me the worst thing in the whole movie, Lex Luthor steals the Kryptonian body, Zod's body. I don't know why they just didn't incinerate Zod's body, but they kept it for study. And the thing is, Lex Luthor turned Zod's body into Doomsday. He made a quick experiment there. He didn't even know what he was doing, but he wanted to create a beast that could kill Superman. So he used Kryptonian blood to do that, and he created Zod. Excuse me, he created Doomsday with Zod. So that's why he's got the heat vision as well. That's why he's got just to justify how strong Doomsday is. And for me, that is something quite. That was something that I didn't like in the movie because, like I said, General Zod, it's so awesome, but he's awesome because of what he is. The actor that did a fantastic job portraying General Zod, and how well he fits in the movie. And Doomsday was completely burnt out for the last 15 minutes, 15 like 15 screen minutes screen time he had, I guess 15 minutes, maybe a little less, maybe a little more than that, but it was completely for me. They just burned out one of the coolest villains they could have used. They could have made a whole movie or a whole trilogy of Superman facing Doomsday, and as they go, they could, showcase some other heroes that will be part of the Justice League movie. However, how could they think of that, or how could have they could have done that if they did if they took that gigantic crap on us with the retail version of Justice League, right? So it definitely shows that Warner sometimes do things without thinking about what they're actually doing and what they could do in the future with that. The Snyder Cut thing is a proof of that. They canceled that project for whatever reason, and now they're just like, "Oh, you guys want to see it? Okay, let's release it." And it's like, of course we wanted to see that, man. So what they did with Doomsday was for me a huge waste of character there. However, like I said, the special effects look terrific, but the design at least could have been comic book accurate, right? And it's totally not. So let's go back to screen sharing. So that's how he looks in the Dawn of Justice movie. But if you want to take a closer look at the original form that Doomsday actually has, I'm going to go for this sideshow statue here that is extremely comic book accurate. This is a statue of Sideshow. This looks phenomenal. And look at the textures. I mean, that elephant texture skin thing that he's got going on there. All the spikes and all the cool things that he's got, all the long white hair, the red eyes, the semi shark mouth that he's got. I mean, this is Doomsday for me. And if they could have done something like that. They could have done something like that in the movie. That would already be something entirely different, and that would make that movie a lot better. But imagine having a whole movie with Doomsday. Now, the problem with Doomsday, the reason why I think they didn't go for that in the for the DC cinematic universe, it's because, oh my god, my Hulk looks terrible next to those pictures right now. Okay, but that's a starting point. Okay, the fact is that Doomsday doesn't talk. He doesn't think. He's like a irrational being. He just want to destroy everything for no reason at all. He doesn't have a backstory. So originally, he's like just an animal out of his leash. So that's why I think they didn't want to go for anything deeper than that for the movies and for the DC universe, which I totally disagree. I think they could have done something like, okay, maybe you can choose another character. Like they have Brainiac, they have Bizarro, they have Lex Luthor, they have Mongo, they have other Superman villains, they have Metallo, they have Cyborg Superman, they have so many other villains that they could use as primary villains, like the brains behind the operations, and they could have just like the same idea that they had for Dawn of Justice. Use Doomsday as a secret weapon to really try to beat Superman, because they can realize that they are no match for the Superman character. Basically, no one is, not even Darkseid. So they could do something where one particular villain could use Doomsday as a diversion or something like that, so they can, do things their own way without having to face Superman all the time, just like they did in Dawn of Justice, but not turning Zod into Doomsday by the hands of that ridiculous Lex Luthor thing. So But um, however, like I said, the CGI is phenomenal. And the quality of the movie is great. I mean, I don't like the actor who made Lex Luthor. I don't like the personification of Lex Luthor, but however, it looks terrific. At least I got to give it to them. It looks very good. The CGI looks good. Everything looks really good. And coming back into the art right now, you see, Gemma Toys, what you have done. You just made you just unlocked a monologue for the BVS movie. So here on the on Photoshop, there is something that we must analyze for the scene. Can you see that is actually very interesting that we don't have any shadows on the street? And if I'm just gonna come back to this image. Hold on, I'm just gonna minimize everything we have here, and I'm gonna resize this image so you guys can see something. Okay. This is the original image. Although this middle section here with with everything behind looks super cool, but I'm not gonna use that because in terms of perspective and how I want this scene to look like, it's gonna actually it's not gonna fit the purpose too well. But you can see that we don't have any hard shadows anywhere, right? And that's because we have some dark skies in the background. It's a cloudy day. We don't have the sun bursting through the sky. So whenever this happens, all right, every time actually this happens, we have this grayish sky with no strong lights on it. Like the sun is way covered through clouds. It creates a soft illumination, and soft illuminations is when you have, my cell phone is actually vibrating right now. And when you have soft illumination, it doesn't have, you won't have any hard shadows on the ground. So look at the street scene right here. If you look at the street, there's no shadows at all. I mean, and we got signs, and we got buildings, we got all of that, and we don't have any harsh shadows around. And that's because the light is soft. Now, if we didn't have any any clouds, and we had a sun right in here, right in the middle, okay, we could have clouds, but not covering the sun. If it was a sunny day, a beautiful sunny day, let me just paint the sun. If we had a sun in here, okay, or even at another particular spot, but if we had the sun here, we would have a lot of hard shadows underneath every single object, because the brighter the day is, the cleaner the sky is, the hotter the shadows are going to look like underneath stuff, underneath people, signs, cars, any object you might have, and especially during at the middle of the day. So early morning when the sun is rising, or late in the afternoon when the sun is setting, you're gonna have also the same soft effect. You're gonna have the same effect that we have originally in the scene. You're gonna have soft shadows. And around noon, I mean between 10 a.m. and 3 in the afternoon, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, with a clear sky and a shiny sun, you will have hard shadows everywhere. And you will have some big shadows, some very hard line shadows. So for our scene here, I'm just gonna bring this the way it was before. For this scene we're gonna have to follow the same idea for the characters. So this Hulk figure has some pretty dark shadows and some pretty strong highlights, and I'm gonna have to tweak those things down later on, because I need to make him. I need to make this idea a little bit more cohesive to what we have here on the background. So we don't have any strong highlights and strong shadows, again, based on the sky. So he's got to follow the same idea. So we can totally do that by creating a levels layer, and we're going to click this icon here next to the I button to change that into the Hulk layer itself. So all right, so I can double click on the levels, and as I move those around, it will only change the figure levels. All right, so it can go really dark, really bright. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually leave it the way it is, central like that. Actually, I'm gonna type 0, and we're not gonna focus on this box right now. We're gonna focus on this bar underneath, not underneath, under. Underneath will be actually behind it, right? So these are the levels we have. We have black values, dark values, okay? And we have lighter values, white values. So if I drag the light value, the white value arrow all the way down, you will see that it's going to go all the way black, all the way to black, and vice versa. If I drag the black one, it's going to go all the way to white, and it looks ridiculous again. So what I want to do is I want to just put a little bit, just a notch for the blacks, because the whites, yeah, the whites are too strong. However, I'm going to leave it the way it is now, but the blacks are too deep. And again, we don't have a sunny day, so it doesn't have to be, it can't be too deep, too dark. So I'm just going to put this a little like so. So it's around 14. So you might say, but Alan, you could just select the Hulk layer, Command and Mac L or Control L for Windows, and you could just do that in here. But if I do that in here, if I mess around with his levels in here that way with the key shortcut keys, if I hit OK, I will permanently do this changing. And if I want to go back and change something, I won't be able to do it. So creating a layer, I can always hide this layer to see how it looked like before, how it looks like now with this layer turned on, turned off, turned on, turned off, turned on. And if I want to change it, I just double click on it and it's going to save everything I did so I can go back and forth, you know? So that's why it's more interesting to do value changings, value balancing through these, through separated layers. Okay. And I just tweaked those shadows, and that already looks that looks weird, but it looks more in connection with the background. So let me just take a look at the chat here, see what we have. Yeah, Doomsday. And Gemini Toy said, haha, sorry. You know, one can talk about these movies all day long. Yes, yes. We can talk about these movies all day long. The DC movies, what do you guys think? Do you think that DC movies are more controversial than Marvel movies? What do you guys think? I think DC movies are way more controversial than Marvel movies, I think. Marvel movies have a more, even though I have my, usual complaints about those movies, I do feel that they are more tight together. They could have been a lot more. They could have been tighter. You know, they could have done that in a more interesting way, I guess. Because for me, when it comes to Marvel movies, Thanos took like 10 movies to arrive, right? I mean, since Guardians of the Galaxy since the first Avengers to Infinity War, he was just like in transit. I mean, it was weird, right? It was like arriving, and they had to explain all of that, but at least they did it on the same timeline, right? Because DC already rebooted, restarted things like 3 times meanwhile. So the next thing we're gonna do right now for the scene is we're gonna do the same thing for the background. Now we're not gonna change how these shadows work and all of that, all of those aspects that I mentioned before, but we're gonna do the same as we did with the Hulk. We're gonna create a levels layer on top of that, and we're gonna also chain it together to the layer under it. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna just balance those levels a little bit. I think it's too bland, so I'm just gonna go now on the box panel, and I'm just gonna use the middle arrow. Make it a little bit darker, around 90. Let me hear 90. Is 90 fine? Maybe 80, 70, maybe 72. Now I gotta go with what did I just do here? Oh yeah, I typed the wrong value. Sorry. Now I'm gonna go around 85. I'm gonna go around 85. I just forgot to type the zero before the numbers 85. And I'm gonna retweak Hulk's value a little bit. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna go for some crashed cars. I'm gonna put later on some crashed vehicles around him. A school bus. I got some pictures on Google of some crashed cars and some you know accidents. I hope no one died there because I don't want to use pictures of people who died in those accidents. I hope they didn't, but at least it's very suitable for our purpose here. I'm gonna stop screen sharing. And I'm gonna read some comments here from Gemini Toys. He says, "Yes, more controversial." So you're talking. So you agree with me, right? You think that DC movies are a lot more controversial? I mean, what can be more controversial than the Snyder cut? Snyder cuts. Snyder cut. Right? I think that the idea of having that like butchered, like completely butchered, it was ridiculous with a retail version of Justice League, right? I don't know. We may find even people that actually enjoyed the retail version of Justice League. I don't know if that's a thing or not, but I mean, probably someone actually did, right? But they totally butchered that movie, so I think that it's super well. Fans actually deserve to see the Snyder Cut. Now, are you guys thinking about maybe the Suicide Squad? Because on the internet, some people are saying that the Suicide Squad movie that was also butchered will have a cut, a director's cut version as well. They actually showed something very, very interesting. There is a scene that was completely cut off the movie, the Suicide Squad movie, where Batman, Ben Affleck's Batman, beats the crap out of Joker, and he just punches so hard and so bad, like so many times that he destroys all of his teeth, and that's why he's got golden teeth in the movie. And they show that scene, so I don't know if they thought it was too violent or not. I mean, how can Warner let those directors do their stuff and later on when the movie's done ready they're like, oh, you did that super nasty and gory, I don't like that, let's change it. I mean, uh, I don't know what happens behind the scenes with Warner Bros. Or yeah, me too, man. I am super looking forward to the Snyder Cut, just like Gemini Toy said in the comments. I absolutely love um, the Snyder Cut trailer. I think it looks super awesome, and I hope it's going to be a good movie. Actually, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a good movie because I have this theory. I don't know if you guys agree with me on that, but I have this theory that for a long time we can actually tell by the trailer if a movie is going to be good or not. At least I every time I see a movie and I'm like, oh, okay, so that's the vibe that the movie's going for. I think it's going to look cool. Every time I think about that, I think that it looks cool and I like the movie. And every time I'm like, didn't like the direction they were going for. I think it's too maybe they're gonna throw. They actually gave us a lot of jokes in the trailer, so I think it might not be very dramatic and very serious. So it's not gonna be too comic book accurate. And when that happens, the movie is exactly that. It's a movie full of jokes, completely not comic book accurate. And that was for me what happened with Thor Ragnarok. I really didn't like the trailer. I thought the trailer was really bad, and when I saw the movie, it was even worse. I'm not a fan of that because I think I have this other theory that I think that the Thor movie should be more like a Lord of the Rings kind of thing, because Thor is, he's always fighting creatures and monsters. The ice giants look a lot different in the comics than what they actually looked like on the first Thor movie. They are a lot more menacing and a lot more interesting, to say the least. So it's for me, Thor movies should be more like a Game of Thrones kind of thing, Lord of the Rings kind of stuff. Basically taking place on Asgard all the time. And Asgard, for me, it looked too generic in the movies. We don't have many scenes, and we don't have a good notion, a good idea of where things are, in terms of the of places you can go, because it was very rushed sometimes, I think. So they put Thor spending too much time either somewhere else, like in Age of Ultron, where he's completely far away searching for the Infinity Stones and actually trying to figure it out. What is his vision all about? That Scarlet Witch made him see. Scarlet Witch made him see that jacuzzi scene when he talks to Ramdal. So I think they could have used more Thor a little bit more. I think Thor it's such an awesome character and he deserves more love. So I'm gonna go back to screen sharing. What is my screen sharing? Is this one? Yes, because there is another option of screen sharing where the screen is actually super it's super small, so it looks terrible. So going back to our Hulk figure here, I'm just gonna hide his spiky layers, and we're just gonna continue on making the using the clone stamp tool to get rid of these seam lines of his articulation. And one thing that I really love about the Dawn of Justice movie is that is it somehow it looks to me to be more like a Superman movie, more rather than a Batman movie. Um, I do know that Batman was obviously the reason why many people actually went there and wanted to see the obviously having a new actor performing Batman, being Ben Affleck, and all of that was a huge plus because a lot of people actually watched the movie because of that. Not much about Superman because it was still Henry Cavill. Maybe if they were recasting Superman, obviously we would have even more people watching the movie. But um, I think it was my favorite moment of Dawn of Justice is when Superman Clark when he dreams with his father. I don't know if it's actually a dream or if he's actually thinking about it. I didn't exactly remember how actually they made that happen, but it's when he talks to Kevin Costner to his Earth father, and when they talk about being a superhero, and I think is that's the idea of the whole movie, right? How heroes have all those amazing powers, especially Superman. He can basically enslave humanity if he wants, and he decides not to. He just want to use his powers for something that he cannot, he cannot take advantage of. And that for me is why I love Superman and why I love those kind of characters, like Boy Scout characters, because they always have that idea, like no matter what happens, I will always do the right thing. And I don't care if I'm going to be recognized by that or not, if people will agree with me or not. And when he father says that they had that, he helped, I think when his father, Kevin Costner, was young, he helped his father, I guess, with something that happened with their house, I think. And he suggested something that they could fix, and that actually caused a flooding issue on Lana's family's house, and they had their whole place like full of water, and I guess something like that. He tried to help his father with something, and he fucked up Lana's house. I mean, or something like, or where they used to raise the horses or something like that. So, and he was not aware of that, and back then, and he just thought he was a hero. And then when he realized he realized what happened, what he actually did, he was like feeling sorry and like, oh my god, I tried to help and I caused that a huge problem to him. They had to spend money fixing all of that, and I don't even recall if the horses died or not. I don't think they did, but the meaning of the idea behind it was that sometimes we are trying to do good stuff and we are trying to be, greater than we think we can be, and we try to do things the right way, and sometimes we might fuck things up without noticing. And what matters is the idea behind it, like the intention. You were trying to save something, you were trying to help someone, and that's what Superman does all the time. He's trying to save humanity, and you cannot save humanity. There's a lot of people to save. There's a lot of issues, a lot of things going on, and everybody already have their own problems. So it's something that Superman has to deal with it, like on his daily life, and especially on that particular moment when everybody's blaming Superman for everything. So that's a cool idea. That's a cool concept. I think it's a cool idea. I think that his own father saying that to him is what makes everything special about that scene. And it's not even his Kryptonian father, basically, because maybe they couldn't, I don't know, they didn't have plans to put um, Russell Crowe in the movie or not, or it was because they want to focus on the Earth dad. But whatever the reason was, it makes total sense that it was the Earth father who said that, because the Kryptonian father was also powerful and Superman. He's just like Superman. He's also Kryptonian. If he would arrive at on Earth, he would have the same powers as Superman. So it was cool that it was the human figure that actually said that to Superman. You can always be super, but you can always try, and you can always have faith in what you do, and that's actually what matters. And it's a very cool message. So that's what I like about movies, and is when they go really deep into this kind of crap that you might think it's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know. I think it's super cool. And what I'm doing now is I'm trying to recreate his musculature here. Creating the shoulder area. And how about making his deltoid going all the way up? The cool thing about the clone stamp tool is that you can recreate musculature like really easy with minimum effort. And we also had some pretty cool moments for the what's it called? For the Justice League movie, right? I haven't watched it though. I didn't watch that movie yet because I was focusing on other movie lines. I actually watched the whole Harry Potter saga recently, and the whole Star Wars saga recently. Watching Rise of the Skywalker in theaters, it was super cool to watch that in theaters. But the movie obviously had a lot of stuff that I wasn't. That I didn't exactly enjoy. But for me, it was the best movie of the last trilogy for sure. Just fixing his trapezius to make contact with his clavicle bone a little bit more. And let me see the chat here. I might be missing. Oh, sorry. So Gemini Toys asks, and what happened with that scene with the Batman imposter in Suicide Squad? Yes, the imposter scene. He's talking about the version of Batman where he's all painted as Joker. So I don't know what happened to that scene as well. I don't even know what was the purpose of that. The thing is, yeah, Pepe says the Batman imposter figure is super cool. Yes, Dante is asking me about Qui-Gon. Yes. So just about the imposter. The imposter scene, I'm going to talk a lot about Qui-Gon. I'm just going to go for the imposter first. And Dante, you're also aware of the imposter figure, right? I mean, I know you don't have it, and I don't think you ever had, but the imposter figure is a very beautiful figure. I like that figure. And it's basically the Dawn of Justice Batman, or actually the Suicide Squad Batman, which is actually the same suit. So with painted as Joker. So he's got a lot of details, a lot of stuff. He's got ha ha ha. He's got the mouth painted on his hand, so you can display him like so with a big smile, just like Joker, Jared Leto's Joker himself. But the thing is, they have this figure, and it's a Batman painted as Joker, and it looks completely disturbing. And the reason why is because there was a scene in the movie where we would see that, and along with the other scenes, like I said, Batman punching Joker in the face and tearing his teeth apart, and many other Batman scenes and Joker scenes, the biggest majority of all Joker scenes were also taken out of the movie. It was, completely forgotten. And I saw someone on the internet saying his own theory about that, and I totally agree with that. That guy, by the way, was Optibotimus, a famous YouTuber, Hot Toys related, and Transformer stuff as well. And he said that he thinks that maybe that scene might have been a dream that Bruce Wayne had. Basically, because he had dreams in Dawn of Justice where he sees that bat monster coming out of their of that place near his mansion, near the Wayne's mansion, where he sees bats and all of that. I think he and when he's a kid on the Batcave, or am I confusing stuff? I don't know, but he has some dreams on Dawn of Justice, and he thinks that in Suicide Squad he might have dreams as well. He might have had some dreams about what happened with Robin, because in Dawn of Justice, Robin already killed. Excuse me, Joker already killed Robin, and you see that there's a little altar stuff on the Wayne's mansion with Robin's outfit, and he's got all those stuff written by Joker. Ha ha ha! The joke's on you. I don't know if that's a thing or not, but he's got a lot of graffiti there that Joker made on Robin's suit. So you can imagine Bruce Wayne finding Robin dead on the ground and beat to death with a crowbar by Joker. So in the Suicide Squad, he says, Optibotimus said that he thinks that that might have been a dream that he had. And in this dream, he saw Joker dressing like Batman and killing Robin. And maybe it was because he considered himself the person responsible for that, because he wasn't there to save Robin. He's always there to save others, but he couldn't save Robin. So he creates this thing where he sees himself as the Joker. So that's why he thinks that this imposter thing was Batman painted as Joker. So I agree with that. I think it would be actually a super cool concept to have in the movie. But again, we might never know. But if the Snyder Cut really changed things for Warner Bros. Movies, they might release a Suicide Squad cut version as well, director's cut version, that I totally support that. And we will finally see what's up with this imposter Batman imposter rather. And I think that will be awesome to see. If he's right, and definitely, I want to know if Afterbottomus was right, because his hunch was super, like, it was a good one. I mean, a total shot in the dark, but it was at the same time using references from Dawn of Justice, so it makes total sense. And Dante, yes, Qui-Gon. As you guys know, we already talked at the very beginning of the stream that Hot Toys released like 54 or 50 something photos of Qui-Gon. I think he looks terrific. I love Qui-Gon. I want to get that figure. However, the only problem I have with it is the facial expression. He looks too bland. He looks too like, and every time he's facing Darth Maul, because I mean, everyone will display Qui-Gon facing Darth Maul, right? Everybody. And Darth Maul has that secondary head, which is like, I don't know, screaming and looking terrifying and looking completely out of his mind. And it's super cool. And when and they used that head, that secondary head of Darth Maul to display him with Qui-Gon for those new pictures they announced, excuse me. And every time you look at Darth Maul, you're like, oh, he's totally into that battle, man. And when you look at Qui-Gon, when he's facing forward, when you see his face, he looks like, does he even realize what is happening? Because it looks like I don't know, he looks too bland and too chilled and too relaxed. And although he looks like that in the whole movie, basically, when he faces Maul, his expression is different. So I wish they could have got I don't know, maybe a different idea. They could have released, I mean, not released because they didn't yet, but they could have done a secondary head with an angry expression for Qui-Gon, or a more like worried, preoccupied expression, or I don't know, or a frightened expression. because that head works for a random display, but it doesn't work for a battle display, in my opinion. But I'm gonna get the figure anyways. And a lot of people are actually arguing about rooted hair versus sculpted hair. The thing is, Qui-Gon got some pretty long hair, and he's got not just in front of him, but also it's tied up on the sides up here. So when it goes all the way, it goes in front and behind his torso. So I think that might be a problem when it comes to articulation because it's sculpted hair. So for me, for me, that might be a problem, especially with the whole suit underneath and all of that. It will scrape a lot, so I think it doesn't have a lot of mobility for the head. So I don't know, but I want to get this guy anyways because I love Qui-Gon. I love Liam Neeson actually. And Gemma Toys is saying, "Who will display Qui-Gon getting killed by Maul?" Joking. Did you see that one of the pictures that Hot Toys released? It is actually Qui-Gon dying. It is Darth Maul killing Qui-Gon. And it's interesting because Qui-Gon had his back turning to the camera because they also thought it would be weird to show him dying like, oh, I'm dying. You know, it's, I don't know. Dante says Qui-Gon is coming next week, so I'll do the unboxing and reveal. Yeah, make sure to check that out. I will check that out. Obviously, again, because of the pandemic, Brazil here is not receiving the goods from overseas, so it's actually something extremely terrible for Hot Toys collectors. For me, I don't even have the Mandalorian figure. I don't have Thanos, Armored Thanos, or the Infinity War Thanos. I'm way behind the schedule when it comes to Hot Toys releases, but Qui-Gon is one that I want really bad, and since it was announced. But for me, the head sculpt is a problem. Not the head sculpt, excuse me. The head sculpt, it's meticulously well sculpted. The likeness is phenomenal, but the facial expression, it's weird. I don't think it's gonna look super cool when having him, facing Darth Maul. But maybe we can rely on third-party heads. I mean, there's a lot of known third-party companies making accessories and secondary heads. Sometimes not even companies, but individuals that are actually sculpting 3D heads there for collectors. You can even download the file and print it yourself if you have a 3D printer. So today's technologies allows us to do all kinds of things we want, and it's absolutely fantastic. And Gemini Toy says, nice looking figure for sure. Looking forward to it, Dante. Yes, in terms of the unboxing and reveal. I'm still waiting for my Mandalorian. Gemini Toys, you ready for your Mandalorian? What do you mean? You already bought it and you're waiting for its arrival, or you're waiting for the next release of the Mandalorian Hot Toys figure? Because you live in Japan, you should have gotten there like in a matter of seconds, right? I don't have the Mandalorian figure, and I think it's super cool. What do you guys think about the season 2 trailer for the Mandalorian? It looks phenomenal, right? I mean, Baby Yoda looks super cute. The Mandalorian looks badass. The special effects look ridiculously awesome. We got a sneak peek into Ahsoka. There's even a analysis that was actually made on the internet showing some Easter eggs. So they show pieces of the Star Killer base. Oh, it was not released in Japan yet. Oh, I didn't know that. So the first one, the same one that Dante has, the first Mandalorian batch you're talking about, or talking about the next one that wasn't released anywhere. Dante says, love it, can't wait. I'm also can't wait for Cobra Kai season 3. Yes, I started watching Cobra Kai. I thought it was phenomenal. I still gotta finish the first season. Actually, I'm way behind the schedule when it comes to the TV shows as well. I want to continue on watching the Cobra Kai. I want to watch the new Titans as well. But I got a notification. I'm getting it at the end of the month for or bagging of necks. Yes, first one. Oh, the first batch. So the first batch wasn't released in Japan. That is actually very interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Yes. I haven't got the first one as well. Obviously, with the upcoming Mandalorian figure released by Hot Toys, the DX version with the baby, it's gonna be my thing. But that one that Dante has, the first one, it's very very cool. I like the helmet. So as I was saying, they made this analysis of the Mandalorian season 2 trailer where you see the Boba Fett's jetpack and helmet on a snow speeder that is passing by in front of the camera, and you can see it right on the back of the pilot. And the Star Killer base one they show, I think it's on that sequence when you see the snow, no, not speeder, sorry, the bicycles. What's the name of that? I always confuse that with snow speeders, but whatever. And it's this gigantic icy planet, and you see some cracks and some kind of a something that looks like a huge creek mixtured with some abyss kind of stuff. And they pointed out that that would be maybe the remains of the Star Killer base. So it's actually very interesting. So we got a lot of stuff, a lot of Easter eggs for the next season of The Mandalorian. And for season 3, we're gonna have Sebastian Stan portraying Luke Skywalker um, as well. It's gonna look absolutely fantastic. Um, I'm an '80s boy. Dante, yes, I'm not an '80s guy. I was born in 1992, so not even a '90s guy because when I was actually getting to know my surroundings, I was already entering 2000s. So, but I love '80s stuff. I think Karate Kid is super cool. I love the cartoons from the '80s and even previous to that. You know, like Masters of the Universe, Thundercats, and all of that. I think it's super cool. Gemini Toys says Marvel figures, including the recently released Star Lord, are excuse me, sorry, Marvel figures, including the recently released Star Lord, are released here, but Mendo is taking time for some reason. I don't know exactly if it's related to the. Do you know if it was well received in Japan? Because maybe the hype for it wasn't good enough in relation to the rest of the world, so they wanted to hold it back. I don't know. They wanted to prioritize some other figures that had more people interested on. We are Karate Kid. We are the Space Girls, which I love too. The Spice Girls. Man, I'm sorry. I'm just focusing on reading the comments, so I'm making things up. I said Space Girls. He mean the Spice Girls. Yes, I watched the Spice Girls movie when I was like, I don't know, under. I was not even a 10-year old. I think I was 9, and I watched the Spicy Girls movie. I didn't even know what it was, and for some reason there was aliens and there was a spaceship and there was a lot of interesting stuff in the movie, and I was like, oh, that movie's super cool. I didn't even realize what was going on back then. So yes, so I have a Spicy Girls movie in my curriculum. But Dante is also sharing this with some emojis on the chat. So yes, yes, a lot of weird stuff, right? Is that the only Spicy Girls movie we had, or did we have any other ones? I don't recall. It was the only one I saw, at least. Uh, Interesting. So it's already 10 o'clock. We've been here for 2 hours, and I basically did nothing with my art, but it's totally fine. I'm just gonna. What I did here, as you guys can see, is I got rid of the articulation. I changed a little bit the lats of the Hulk, and you guys saw how I did that. I do that with Liquify too. I do that with the Clone Stamp tool, and I'm just gonna continue on doing this until I can get rid of all those seam lines for the articulation on the feet and the shin, and I also will continue on drawing his spikes and all of that. And for some reason, that layer is now um it went up. I don't know what happened. It moved upwards. I don't know what happened. Let me just fix this. The Hulk figure, it's got a all right. So now it's properly aligned with the other layers, and I'm gonna just still tweaking this thing here outside the streaming. And when we come back to next week for a continuation of this project here, I'm gonna give you guys some feedback about what's gonna happen next week and also what happened during this week. And we're gonna talk more about the Mandalorian TV show and the upcoming movies and all these Star Wars projects that are about to happen for the next decade, including Old Republic stuff, and also two other figures of my collection that I consider my favorites. So it was really fun. I mean, I didn't even see time passing by. It was super fun. I want to thank you, everybody on the chat. Let me go to the very beginning. Alan, that was since the beginning. Pappy, I want to thank you, Gemini Toys, Dante, all of you guys. Thank you for joining today. It was super, super, super cool. And what I want to do for the next streaming is I want to maybe change a little bit the settings here. I'm gonna put some other action figures here, maybe. So maybe Doctor Doom and Zod will be replacing those guys here in the back, so I can put everybody together, all my favorite figures. And all right, that's gonna be it for today. I hope you guys had a great time. I had a great time. And Gemini Toys, I'm looking forward for your streaming, sir. I want to be there on the chat talking to you and sharing your thoughts, so you can talk a little bit about Man of Steel. Who knows? We can talk about some other stuff. And thank you very much, everybody. And I hope to see you guys later. Don't forget to follow their channels as well. Gamma Toys, Manoha Collectibles, the Six Scale Media group, which is Dante's group. Also, Rob's group, Six Scale Club. And I hope to catch you guys later. So, all right. Thank you again. And I hope you guys have an excellent rest of night, what it's left of it, and a very cool week. Keep taking a look at my Instagram account, because I'm going to put the stories for the next streaming, which is going to happen next weekend. So keep your eyes open for that. All right. So I hope to see you guys later.